Helicopters played a crucial role in the war in Vietnam. Having little time in combat in the Korean War, helicopters were very young and new to military use and commercial use as well. The Vietnam War was the perfect stage for helicopters to shine. Helicopters were used not only for troop transportation, but for attacking, scouting, and evacuating injured troops as well. I will be giving some background information on the history of helicopters, how they were used in the war, improvements made to the helicopter, and the impact they made on the war in general. Helicopters have been thought about and dreamt about for nearly 500 years. In 1486, Leonardo da Vinci designed the first helicopter. However, it wasn't until 450 years later a working model was built. A couple years later, an efficient helicopter was built. Efficient meaning one that was able to fly unassisted and one that could fly for hours on end. In 1939, Igor Sikorsky flew the first economical helicopter called the VS-30, quote, John Fay. One of the major helicopters used in the Vietnam War was XH-40. The XH-40 was essentially an ambulance in the sky, equipped with benches for troops and physicians to work on them, bandages, supplies for shock resuscitation, and most importantly, surprisingly, glue. Crazy glue was used by physicians to close cuts and deep wounds for time management reasons. Neither the troops nor physicians had time to stitch up wounds, so crazy glue was the most effective and efficient way of going about that. Though it was not approved by the FDA for a couple years, physicians did choose to use this method. Throughout the first year of the war, in 1969, these evacuation helicopters transported more than 200,000 casualties by air, says Brian R. Swopes. A helicopter with a complete opposite design and purpose was the UH-1E. Stocked with weapons of mass destruction, the US-1E's sole purpose was to attack and be another means of destruction and another weapon option for the US military. Equipped with 3 2 3/4 inch missiles on each side of the helicopter that made a total of 6 rockets. Along with these rockets was a door-mounted machine gun, specifically the M1919, which was soon replaced by the M60. Having such a profound impact on the war and success of the U.S. military, UH-1E takes the spotlight away from the XH-40 and is the most famous of the Vietnam helicopter types, states Dan Alex. Upgrading from an M1919 machine gun, which was capable of spitting out 400 to 600 rounds per minute, to the M60, designed for mass production and efficiency, was one of the many improvements made to the helicopter over the Vietnam War years. Rockets mounted on a helicopter provided the helicopter with another weapon to destroy the enemy. Missiles could be used to flatten bases, take out big equipment like trucks and tanks of the enemy, and bunkers, while the M60 would take out the troops. On the defensive side of things, the armor of the UH-1E and the XH-40 was replaced. Initially armored with heavy metal designed for protection on the ground from grenades and bombs, a newer, lighter metal was produced, allowing them to be more fast and agile in the air. Also improving the handling of the aircraft were bigger tail fins, allowing for faster and more precise turns. Lastly, the engines. The engines installed were bigger, allowing for more horsepower plus the lighter frames of the helicopter allowed for them to be much faster. These advancements made the helicopter even more powerful and successful. The improvements allowed for the U.S. military to use them in more situations and in engagements with the enemy, giving them a large advantage. The landscape of Vietnam made the helicopter even more pivotal. Being filled with dense trees and a forest type, and lots of mountains and hills, transporting troops by tanks and trucks was not logical. Reaching speeds up to 160 miles per hour, the helicopter not only helped transport millions of troops, but provided a vantage point for scouting and observing the enemy as well. Pilots and scouts communicated with people on the ground, informing them where the troops were, when, and where to attack. Seeing everything from above improved the U.S. military's attack strategy. Though air combat was largely untested, it was a big part of the American success. The new gun mounts, along with the missiles, made for a good team, destroying everything in sight. The M16s would fire at the troops, while missiles would fire at larger equipment, like previously stated. The Vietnamese had no preparation for an aerial attack due to helicopters being new to the battlefield. The impact of these helicopters was not just felt in Vietnam. Many helicopters that had survived were used in missions and were still in use up to a decade later. The XH-40 and the UH-1E established the foundation of the acceptance of the helicopter transport in modern hospital systems. They set a benchmark for helicopters to come. They were the first real test subject that could be observed, studied, critiqued, and analyzed. This allows for continued improvements and advancements in all aspects of the helicopter. Having been new to the battlefield, the helicopter showed its worth in Vietnam. Being so versatile and capable of many things, the impact helicopters had on Vietnam cannot be put into words. The helicopter had a profound impact on every aspect of the war. The versatility allowed for improvements on all aspects. Mounted M16s and missiles on the UH-1E, and more supplies, armor, and operating space in the XH-40s. The 12 million hours of flight time and estimated 200,000 casualties transported established a foundation for the future of helicopter use. Having impacted the war in every way imaginable and being the ultimate reason for success, it is easy to see why the Vietnam War soon became known as the Helicopter War. Thank you.